Hey everybody, welcome to LAB's Christmas Q&A. A little bit late, albeit I'm sorry, I just got caught up with various Christmas type things, and you'll notice straight away that I'm not in the LAB grotto. I'm actually at my parents' house, so apologies for lack of branding items. But hey, let's just crack on anyway. A lot of you have sent in questions and I'm really grateful to all of you, so I've just condensed down to a few, otherwise we'd be here all day. So let me start with, where do I get my tech news from? Because I talk a lot about technology on Twitter and LinkedIn, as you probably noticed. So I thought I'd just reveal a few of my sources in case you might want to use them to help you as well. The first one is Legal Cheek, actually, and I've mentioned Legal Cheek a few times before. They kind of report the news in a slightly tongue-in-cheek way, but it's always really fun and manageable and interesting, and they report a lot about technology stories, but they also run a lot of events as well, insight evenings, information events at law firms and other establishments in and around the UK, mainly in London, but also across the regions as well. So it's well worthwhile checking out Legal Cheek and seeing if there are any events available in your area, or if not, then just keeping up with the news that they post. My second resource is a legal publication, which is The Lawyer, and I think The Lawyer is by far the best legal publication for talking about technology news and deals and who's doing what. I think you have to have a subscription for it, but I'm not sure whether there's a free one which you might be eligible for. So check it out, because if you can subscribe for free, it's a really, really good one for getting all of your top class tech news. The third one is a chap called Richard Traymond, who I follow on Twitter, and his handle is Artificial Lawyer. I'll link him in the description below. He is the tech tycoon, so he keeps you up to date with absolutely everything that's going on, from startups right up to major deals, and he tweets 2 or 3 times a day purely about law tech news. So he's a really, really good guy to follow if you really want to be up on your inside info when it comes to tech. Okay, next, how do I get work experience / paralegal experience if I don't have any? This is quite a common problem. If you're trying to get work experience, you're applying for paralegal roles, you will often find that you're met with the question about how much previous experience you have, and a lot of you don't have any. That's why you're trying to get it. And that can be a difficult barrier to overcome, but what I would say is, don't feel like you have to get work experience in the size or type of firm that you ultimately want to work in. Even if you do want to work in a massive corporate and commercial firm, even work experience in a high street firm will really help you. So when you're looking for work experience or paralegal experience, aim for the smaller firms, because you will find that their requirements are usually slightly lower in terms of previous experience. Also, there's an organisation called f-lex, who was started up by a lady called Mary Bonsor, who I've recently done an interview with, and I'm going to be posting that in a couple of weeks. But f-lex is essentially an app which links up paralegals or law students who are looking for experience with law firms who need students or paralegals to fill those gaps. And it can be anything from a couple of hours a week to a short-term placement or whatever. And the idea is that organisation matches your experience with the needs of the firm. So you should be applying for jobs which are suited to your skills and the experience that you have. So hopefully that should reduce the amount of applications you're making for jobs where you just don't have enough experience to meet the criteria. So check out f-lex. Of course, I'll put the details below and you might have more luck there. Okay, next, should I study at University X or University Y? Now this is an interesting one, because a lot of you have said that there's a university that you would really like to study at, but you're worried that it's not prestigious enough to get you a training contract at a big firm. Now, my overwhelming thoughts on this is that it doesn't matter where you study, it matters about your grades. So study wherever you think you will get the best grades. So if you'd be happier at a local university that perhaps isn't Russell Group or Red Brick, I would study there, because as long as you are studying hard enough to get the grades, then that is enough to get you through. In my experience, it's very rare that anyone would be not put through on the basis of where they studied. They might only be sectioned out if they got poor grades. So really, really work hard on getting the grades and don't worry so much about where you study. The only piece of advice I would give you is that study the University Law Society when you're looking at places to study, because the Student Law Society can be a really defining factor on how many opportunities you get exposed to. There are a couple of really good ones that I know of. So Nottingham's really good, Bristol's really good, and Birmingham are really good. Obviously there are probably lots of other really good ones, but those ones I know, and they offer so much support for networking, work experience, meeting influential people in the industry, and that can make a real difference to your chance of getting a training contract. So have a look at the University Student Law Society before you decide where to study. Final one, should I keep applying where I have failed in previous years? Now this was me because I applied in my final year of uni and didn't get anywhere, so I then reapplied in the first year of my GDL, well, the only year of my GDL, because it was only 1 year. But this is a really difficult problem, and I think it comes down to two things really. I think one is your self-awareness and two is your level of funding. So let's talk about number one, your level of self-awareness. So if you are one of these people who thinks that you have absolutely everything on your CV and on your application forms, but you just haven't been spotted yet, so you are planning on submitting the exact same virtually applications this year as you were last year in the hope that someone will discover you this year, I wouldn't apply again this year, because the chances are that that is very unlikely to be the case. Law firms have really specific criteria they're looking for, and if you didn't get through the first time and you haven't changed something significant about your application and you're applying to the same firms again this time round, the chances are that you won't be successful this time either. I think you really need to have a look at your applications that you made last year, perhaps with some help from your careers advisor or someone influential in the industry or someone who knows about the industry, to really identify where you think you went wrong and really change that materially this time round. So I'm talking more than just correcting a couple of typos and maybe getting one extra placement. I'm talking about something really, really different that you have this year that you couldn't bring last year. Unless you're in a situation where you think that perhaps you applied for entirely the wrong firms last year and you're applying for completely different ones this year, and that your applications were just not suited to that firm, but they might be suited to this firm. I think unless you're in that situation, you really have to have something drastically different about your applications this time round than last time round if it's going to make the difference between you getting a training contract and not. This also brings me on to funding, which is my second point. This is really expensive, and you don't want to get yourself into debt studying these courses unless you are really, really sure that you're going to get a training contract, because you will just end up miserable and in debt, and then you're going to be stuck and you won't know what to do at the end of it. So really have a think about whether you want to apply this time around and whether you really think you've got a good chance of getting a training contract, because it's just not worth getting into debt if you don't want to. I'm not trying to be negative. As you know, I'm always overwhelmingly positive, and I did it. I got nowhere in my first year and I got a training contract in my second year. So I'm absolutely not saying it's pointless. I'm just saying that really take a good look at your applications from last year and make sure you know exactly where you went wrong and that you've corrected it sufficiently to give yourself the best chance of getting through this time round. Okay, that's it, I'm out. I hope this has been helpful, and if you are feeling a bit down or worried about the future, then please watch this video up here, because this is all about having some downtime over Christmas and using your holidays effectively to catch up and recharge and not worry about any of this. So please, if you are concerned, please watch that one before you go away and do something else, because I think you will feel a lot better. Alright guys, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas holidays, and I will catch up with you again soon. Bye guys.